All right, as your coach, I thought it would be a good idea to come and talk to you about something that is not fun and not really sexy, but will totally help you get closer to your goals and really enjoy success. And that is data. Oh my gosh, what do you think of when you hear the word data? I think of a man crunching numbers in a cubicle and he goes home sad every day because he hates his life. I don't know why that's the imagery, but when I think of data, that's what comes to mind. And it isn't a fun word, but it's an important word if you're going to be successful in growing towards your goals. Because data tells the truth and perfectionism can't stand the truth. And what I mean by that is too often I see clients fail at getting to their goal of getting healthy and in the best shape of their life, both mentally and physically, because they're so focused on doing it perfectly. Meaning, if they're starting a 30-day program like Core de Force, or a 21-day program like 21 Day Fix, or even an 80-day program like 80-day Obsession, or 90 days of P90X, in their mind, they're going to start and they're going to do it perfectly and they're going to finish. They're not going to miss a single workout and they're not going to mess up on a single meal. And if they do, then everything unravels. They feel guilty. They think, why should I continue? I've already messed up. And suddenly we're right back where we started from, wanting to find, the next plan to follow and then failing at that one too. So what I want you to hear from me today is that it's really important that you get in the habit of measuring your goals so that you can stay on track with success and that you collect some data. Data gives us a lot of insight and can make a huge difference because, for example, all right, here's a great example. When restaurants became required to list the calorie count next to a menu option, that didn't change the amount of calories that a giant old cheeseburger that you so thick you have to stick a knife through it always had. That cheeseburger on that menu with the big knife in it and the giant bun and the cheese and the fries, that platter always had the same amount of calories as it did after having to list the calories. But what does that now tell the consumer? Well, now you can't pretend to be ignorant or oblivious. You are faced with a choice. Is this meal really worth the 2,000 calories it's about to cost me? And no longer are you able to lean on ignorance and make excuses about, what you don't know doesn't hurt you, because now you know and you have to make a choice in that moment about how you are going to proceed with this information, with this set of data. So it's not any different when you're starting out on a new goal. And it's really important that you collect data and track it along your journey. And here are some things that you can measure. First thing, time invested in your goal. So if you are beginning your program because you want to lose 10 pounds before Christmas, how much time are you committing to that? Is it a 30-minute workout 5 days a week? Is it 15 minutes of walking 7 days a week? What kind of time are you committed to that goal? Pounds lost. I mean, there's no easier tool to help you measure your progress than the scale. I mean, I'm not a fan of jumping on it every single day, but I know from my own personal history that sometimes that scale, you just try to ignore it because you don't want to know the truth about what it says. You don't want to know where your choices have led you from the last time you stepped on. And what I want you to know is when you measure something like pounds lost and step on a scale, or you take your inches, that says nothing about who you are as a person. It doesn't define how sexy you are in the bedroom to your spouse. It doesn't define what kind of employee you are or mother you are, or the fact that your friends and your family adore you and you still have the same amazing personality. But trying to ignore the data can sometimes lead us down a path of continuing bad habits because we have no frame of reference for where we're at. So it's really important that when you begin, you take before pictures, you do get a starting weight, and you take some starting measurements. And then as you progress through your program, you retake those photos and those measurements every week or every couple of weeks, and you track that data. Things you can also track: miles run. How many miles are you committing to a week? And if you're not running, how many steps? Can you wear a Fitbit, or can you, even in my own iPhone, there's that health app that as long as my phone's on me, it tells me how many steps I took in a day. How many meals you made at home. Okay? How much time are you spending in the kitchen? You could totally track your meals, healthy meals made at home for the week. Dates with a spouse. Why do I include this? Because it's really important that you find ways to include joy in your journey. Making time for people that matter, like a spouse or calling a friend, finding things that fill your cup and fill your bucket and bring joy to your life, outside of health and fitness related goals, because really at the end of the day, they are tied together, right? And you want to pursue activities that bring you joy just as much as you're pursuing things like your workout or eating healthfully. Hours slept. Sleep is so important. It's a huge part of your health and wellness. Can you track how many hours of sleep you're getting per night or per week? Bad food avoided. This is fun. Instead of tracking your meals made at home or your workouts, you could track how many bad food items you say no to. Like, keep a little list. Passed on donuts in the break room. Went home and grabbed the meal I'd planned on making instead of driving through Taco Bell. Keep a list of every time that you say no to a bad food choice and watch that add up. And then hours of TV watch. Gosh, this is big. I mean, do you know how much hours of TV you watch a week? And is that something you'd be willing to take a look at? What I want you to do is just pick 1 to 3 things from this list. I've just given you some ideas. Just choose 1 to 3. And as you progress and continue in your program and you move towards your goal, track some of those items and just allow yourself to have your eyes opened. And with that data you collect, you can now move forward and make different decisions and see how just being aware of that information impacts your overall goal. Because you can't improve on what you don't measure, right? How do you improve on losing weight if you don't know what you weigh in the first place? How do you improve on getting better sleep if you have no idea how much sleep you're currently getting or when you're going to bed at night? So pick 1 to 3 things. Know that data is not fun and it's not sexy, but it is important to track, and it is really a key step in you being successful with your journey. So I hope that's helpful, and I can't wait to hear what you decide to track.